Welcome
Cool.
back to episode 20, Paddy, 20 of the Swider Show. We had a great guest this week, a guy that we've been talking about a lot, Jimmy Boeheim. It was great to catch up with him. He's out in Prague, killing it right now. So it was really great to catch up with Jimmy. Me, Paddy, and Jimmy, or Jimmy, Paddy, and I. Sorry for the grammar,
Nice.
Paddy, right there.
Yeah, of course.
My grandma's a former English teacher, so she would have got on me for that.
Is she a
But
listener of the pod?
Oh, she listens every once in a while for sure.
Of course. I
Meme,
love it.
shout out Meme. But
Shout
yeah,
out
it was
Meme.
great to catch up with Jimmy. Jimmy, Patty, and I actually stayed on and watched the Syracuse NC State game together. So we're doing this. We're back to doing the pre-show, post interview, and like I said, it was great to catch up with Jimmy.
Yeah, it was perfect. I think it was someone we've mentioned a lot, someone that there's been a lot of questions about when you can get Jimmy on the pod. We wanted to wait for the right time, and with you being in the Eastern time zone, that helped a lot. With Jimmy being 6 hours ahead of me on the East Coast and 9 hours ahead of you, it's tough to find time with your guys' busy schedules. But Jimmy definitely delivered. I thought he was better than even expected. And stay tuned in future episodes because we have something else banked with Jimmy that will not be featured on this episode. But yeah, you guys will very much enjoy that little segment. And he'll also be back on in the future. So
Yeah, for sure, man. Jimmy's obviously a class act. We had a great year with him last year, and super excited for you guys to listen to the interview. But before that, we got a week to catch you guys up on.
oh yeah, unbelievable week. I don't know where you want to start, Sweater. I mean, you have I guess we'll start here. You have a bunch of new teammates with the Lakers.
Yeah,
I
great.
think everyone, Lakers fans like myself, like everyone else listening, big fans of the acquisitions. So kind of give us a peek behind the scenes how that works with the trade deadline. Have you met all the guys? I'm sure you have. I actually saw you meet them on Thursday, but yeah, how's that transition been going? How you guys feeling heading into the last like 25 game stretch here?
Yeah, it's actually crazy, man. I mean, we were talking about it with Troy a little bit, just the trade deadline, like some of the things that happen within the trade deadline, and it's weird, it's exciting. There's like all these different emotions that go into the trade deadline, right? I mean, this year I didn't have to really deal with it or worry about it just because of um, the situation I'm in being on a two-way contract. But
Right.
it was interesting just seeing all the guys like Troy thinking he's safe, Max thinking he's safe. But at the same time, they're still stressing like everyone else because at the end of the day, like if those guys are like what Troy called it, deal sweeteners,
Yeah.
maybe they are expendable. So it was a crazy week for us just because we just have a whole new team now. But I think
Hmm.
it's an exciting time for the Lakers, and it still gives the Lakers a lot of flexibility in this offseason to go out and make moves.
Yeah. I actually got feedback from listeners, some friends about Troy's approach to the whole thing, which he kind of offered this different perspective that I'm sure a lot of NBA players have. And like we mentioned last week, he's younger than us or same age as us, but he's a
Yeah,
vet in the NBA. He's been traded, he's been on multiple teams. And it's this mindset where it's like he said himself he's a deal sweetener. And
yeah,
you kind of have to just be able to roll with the punches, which is such an unrelatable lifestyle because it's like, yeah, I could be living in LA and play for the Lakers one day and then, the next day you're playing for like the Charlotte Hornets. Not to, I mean, there's no specifics there, but
yeah,
um,
yeah.
yeah, it's
Well,
just
I think what's also interesting is that a couple of our guys are going through buyout situations too. So now they're not even
right.
playing. So I
Hmm.
listened to the Pat Bev podcast. Shout out Pat Bev,
I did as well
and
today.
he was just talking about how right now he's going through this buyout period with Orlando. Or did they just waive him? I think they might have just waived him.
I think they bought him. I mean, it's the same thing. I don't
Yeah.
understand either way, but yeah, he was on Orlando for like they bought him or they traded for him with the intention of buying him out. I think.
So yeah, no. So he was waived, and he's talking about on the podcast how he's going through game days like the same
Hmm.
days the Lakers have games, and he's trying to script and everything like that. I think that's even more interesting than like now he has the opportunity to go play for other teams, right? So it's cool, man. I mean, it's definitely a different life that we live in where your boss can just
Yeah,
just trade you at any moment. Um, but I think it's an exciting time for the Lakers. I think we got back a lot of great pieces, and just to add, when LeBron comes back, I think we'll be a scary team out of the West.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to play us in a 1-versus-8
Oh,
matchup or a 2-versus-7 matchup for sure.
absolutely not. The new guys have been looking great. That win on Saturday night was very impressive in Golden State. D'Lo is very fun to watch. Vanderbilt, I feel like, is probably under the radar a little bit for a lot of more casual NBA fans, just because he's with Utah for this year. He was in the Gobert deal, right?
Yeah, Minnesota. Yep.
Yeah. So now that he's like kind of more center stage with the Lakers, not to throw shade at Utah or Minnesota, but they don't necessarily have as many national TV games. But yeah, him, Beasley, all those guys are kind of going to fit in pretty well. You could already tell. One of the trends. We'll get to the big trade with KD. I want to hear your take on that.
Yeah.
But what do you make of all these second round picks just flying around like the Oprah meme?
Well, it's funny. I mean, like guys are getting traded for 5 second-round picks. Like
It's
I've
insane.
never seen that before. I think the Rui deal kind of like set the price
Right.
of those really good role players, but at the same time, like guys who aren't going to like change your franchise, getting traded for second-round picks, and it's like, all right, so if Rui gets traded for 3 second-round picks, what does that make Gary Payton? What does that make Sadiq Bey? What does that make James
Jay
Wiseman?
Crowder, yeah.
Jay Crowder. Like, what does it make all these guys? And then a second-round pick is almost just like an incentive, right? Because Pat Bev got traded with a second-round pick for Mo Bamba. And then Thomas Bryant got traded for 3 second-round picks back. So, like, we can make a trade with – or it's just like this weird thing that was going on. And I've never seen anything like it, honestly.
I know. It was very entertaining because it was all of a sudden like I feel like second round picks are kind of just tossed in at the end of bigger deals where there's more players involved. But it was like this. It kind of reminded me of what Trevor Land was saying on the pod, where there's these relationships and other teams see what, like you're saying, they set the market. And it was almost like, oh, well, Rui went for second round picks. Well, we have second round picks. We could trade those. So I was like, yeah, just throw these out and like we could get who we want. So yeah, it was pretty like entertaining as far as like those deals. And some of them were for good players that'll definitely end up mattering in like playoff and championship races.
Well, I mean, if you look at the beginning of this year, Sadiq Bey was a cornerstone for Detroit, and now he got traded for second round picks. I mean, I'm obviously biased with Sadiq just because of
the relationship there.
Relationship, super hard worker, does all the right things, eats the right things, whatever, all those things. And now he's in a new situation in Atlanta. So, I mean, I'm excited for him, but at the same time, I just think it was definitely weird. Like I think you told me 38 second round picks were traded.
Yeah, it was a total of 38. I love stats like that, but yeah, it was a total of 38 picks. Last thing on that, what is the success rate of a second round pick? Do you even know? I'm genuinely asking this. It's not like a trivia where I have the answer.
No, I have no idea. But what I will say is, now I'm not just saying this because I was an undrafted guy, but a second round pick in a 2-way at this point to me is pretty similar, right? Because a lot of these guys in the second round are getting put on 2-ways for their first year or second year. So I don't know. That's a really interesting point, Pat. I've never thought about it like that.
Well, because I'm just thinking, you're like, oh, it's just 5 second round picks, but I mean, could end up with like a Jalen Brunson or a Josh Hart or a Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, of course. But I also think like even like a Max Christie in the second round is very.
Oh yeah, of course.
Right.
Yep,
like,
that's
even
a
guys
better
like
example.
that.
Well, I think of him as a first rounder. He was a first rounder because he was your first pick.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, he's a first rounder.
Yeah.
Shout out Max.
Yeah, of course. Shout out Max. He's been playing well. He's playing with you guys tomorrow, right? The G League team. Well, it'll be last night by the time we try, or by the time we time travel and listeners listen to this on Thursday. But the other thing was with the trade line, there was 2 giant deals. The Kyrie one was a little bit before the trade deadline, but what was kind of your initial reaction to that?
I think my first reaction was, how is Luka and Kyrie going to fit together?
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 ball dominant guys, 2 guys who play with the ball in their hands, and I think the first question for me was, how are they going to play together? Then I brought up this point to you, Paddy. Was like Kyrie also played with LeBron as well, and LeBron is a ball dominant guy too. So I think the fit is the first thing that came to mind. Like how is this going to mesh? But at the same time, I do think Kyrie's versatile in a place where he can be the main ball handler, or he can go to the side and pick his spots where to be dominant. So, yeah,
Yeah, as we're taping this, they're 0-2 playing together. Last night they lost like a real close game. It was kind of a funny last possession where they were trying to figure out who should shoot it. But
and they didn't even get a shot off.
Yeah, it was nuts. But yeah, I mean, their first or Kyrie's first game with them against the Clippers, Luka didn't play, but he had like a 27-point quarter. So it's kind of that thought process where when guys are that good, then they'll just end up figuring it out. Brooklyn got a good haul on that, though.
Oh, I agree. I think Brooklyn kind of once they traded Kyrie, I think they kind of realized their championship window might have closed or close to it, and they went all in on they're going to be a really, really competitive team. They'll probably make the playoffs, and they're going to be a tough out. But at the same time, I don't think they're looking at a championship contending team anymore.
Right. I'm surprised they didn't trade for you. They have every 6'7" to 6'9" guy in the whole league.
Got a lot of shooting.
A lot of wings. Yeah, a lot of
wing shooting. Yeah.
But yeah, and then I mean, we're talking about it. His teammate Kevin Durant then moved 2 days later. That kind of came out of nowhere. Like Kyrie requested the trade, and usually I feel like the request doesn't accelerate that quick, but he gets traded, then like literally 48 hours later, all of a sudden, KD is a son. Can you say that there? Is that how it works? KD is a son. Like, you know, Cole Swider is a Laker. Do you say that?
Yeah.
Like, is SGA a Thunder?
Yeah.
That sounds weird. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was confusing to me because I just didn't have any idea that was just going to happen like that, right? And it was at such a weird time in the night. I think it was at like 10:30, like
Pacific, yeah.
Pacific. So it's such a weird, yeah, exactly. It's such a weird time of the night where I wasn't expecting it. And yeah, but I guess the new Suns owner just came in there and just wanted to really get shit done. So I mean, shout out to him. He got shit done honestly. Quick. He gave up a lot of his assets. He gave up a really good player, Mikal Bridges, really good player, and Cam Johnson. I mean, he decided basically just to go all in 4 first-round picks. And I mean, Mikal's kind of added to his game this year where he's not like a role player anymore. He's averaging 17 and a half. He's shooting 40% from 3. He guards the best player on every single team they play against. So I mean, that's a big loss. But at the same time, I mean, when you have a chance to get KD, and especially with the aging CP3, like you have to capitalize it on those years.
Right. I really respect that move. Just immediately bursting through the doors and throwing all your chips to the table or in the middle of the table. But yeah, Mikal, I feel like people think of him as 2 years. That playoff run is when a lot of people got eyes on him, and at that point, he was still mainly just a 3-and-D guy. But with Booker and Paul being hurt this year, he's been like creating for himself a lot more. He also has probably the coolest 3-point celebration in the league. I don't know if you've caught that, the point and the head turn.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. It's great. Yeah. He said he got it from Manny Machado.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm not a big Manny Machado guy, although if he wants to come on the pod, he could come on the pod. But he dubbed the Phillies one time, so. But yeah, that's a very good. Swider, unrelated. It usually doesn't take this long to get into your week here playing, but my biggest takeaway from this year this week, you've been playing very well. Yesterday, you had 9 assists. When is the last time you had 9 assists in a ball game?
I think we were talking about this earlier. I don't think I've ever been recorded at 9 assists, right?
Right.
I think I've probably got 9 assists in the AAU game or
it's not official statisticians
high school game, but being recorded at 9 assists is totally different. And I had 8 in the first half.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of chances to get 10 and 11, but it wasn't meant to be 9 assists. 9 assists for the night. Kind of scored more in the second half. Scored more in the second half yesterday, but yeah, man, it was. I mean,
yeah,
these past 2 games and then playing a doubleheader on Thursday. I mean, it's been a.
Are you just in one of those zones right now? You're like burning it from deep.
I mean, I think as a shooter, you got to take the good with the bad, right? I mean, I've been shooting the ball well. I guess I wasn't shooting it for a little bit. I'm just on one of those streaks right now. So hopefully I keep it going, keep making shots. I think I'm in a good spot with just my teammates, learning how to play with each other. I know where I'm getting my shots, and I know I'm starting to get in the position with Shaq and with DC and with Jay where our 2-man games are working, where where we can see like these passes coming through and kind of before the play happens. So I think I'm definitely starting to get into a groove for sure.
Are you a shooter with your mindset where JJ Redick has talked about this on his podcast, where there's a lot of people, they'll prepare, they'll have a routine, they'll do whatever they do, but then if they go 1 for 11, you'll see them after the game getting more extra shots up, or the next day they'll get extra shots up. But then if they go 8 for 11 the next game, they won't take those extra shots. And the argument is like your routine is your routine, no matter what happens in the games. You got to keep that consistent. You've always struck me as a guy that would lean towards the second mindset. Is that something where, like, if you shoot how you did the last 2 games, are you changing up your routine all because you're like, oh, I'm good, I'm been shooting it real well? And on the flip side, if you were to go 1 for 8 next game, are you going to be like, oh, I need to get in the gym tomorrow and shoot extra shots?
No, I wouldn't say that. I would say the only time I would do that is if I felt something was wrong with my shot, right? So if I feel like I need to get like some more arc on my shot, or I need to get a better base, or I'm not holding my shot's not as tight as I want it to be, then I might go in the gym and shoot those extra shots and feel good and feel in that rhythm. Or for example, I mean, this year it's been different for me because I've been going up and down, right? So I'll be on the road with the Lakers for a week and a half, and then I don't get those reps with South Bay that I would normally get. And then maybe I'll go in the gym a little bit extra that week. I'm with the Lakers and kind of go out of my routine just so I can get the cardio, the reps, because that is different than my normal time period. But like for this past week and a half, I think I've just been doing my everyday routine, been locked in, and then we've been on the road too. So you can't really get into like an everyday knowing
set,
like,
yeah.
I'm gonna have a gym time at this time. I'm gonna have shots at this time. You know what I mean. But when I'm home, I stick pretty rigid to my routine. But at the same time, though, there is nights where maybe if I have more energy, I'll go back to the gym, or like there are those times. But I would say I'm a big routine guy as well. I think all shooters have to be.
Yeah, it's all like you're just creatures of habit. It's all like playing the results by the outcomes. It's like you're not going to really find consistency that way.
No,
But
for sure.
yeah, Swider, you mentioned at the top, Q's giant win today. They just beat NC State. Pretty back and forth game. Judah was very clutch down the stretch. Jesse Edwards, 16 points, 18 rebounds. Or maybe I had that backwards. Drained a 3. Drilled a 3.
Big three.
He's now an 100% career 3-point shooter. I'm going to assume that's first in Q's history. But yeah, I mean, we watched it live with Jimmy. We didn't like live stream it or anything, but it's pretty entertaining to watch with him. Pretty entertaining game to watch front to back.
Oh yeah, no, it was a great game. Just super proud of the guys. I mean, we've been going through this the past 2 years of just end of the game, like what's going to happen? Like, are we going to get a bad call or something? Like, you know what I mean? And tonight we just prevailed. I think everyone really stepped up, played well. I thought Malik played well. I thought Jesse played well. I thought Joe picked his spots really well. I thought Judah was able to get down there and make stuff happen. You know, Judah just gets in there. You know what I mean? And that's where he's at his best. So it's
they're in position here though. They're in position here.
I mean,
Lenardi, bracketology. I would love to have him on the podcast, Joe Lenardi, but
oh yeah,
he was saying they got to go 4-2 here down the stretch in order to have a chance to get kind of back in the bubble. Honestly, I look at the schedule, I see 6-0. But yeah, Swider, you will be in the house this weekend at the Dome.
Yep, excited to come back home, man.
Yeah.
Excited to come back home. Excited to be back in Syracuse. Excited to see my guys go up against Duke, and I mean Duke had a good win tonight too against Notre Dame. So
did they win?
Be a good one. Yeah, they beat Notre Dame.
Was that at home?
Yep, home
at Cameron.
Yep.
Okay.
Another week, another great episode with Troy. Really appreciate you guys tuning into that episode. It was actually our 4th best episode as a podcast. So really starting to pick it up. Hope for another great week with Jimmy coming up this week as well. But shout out to Blue Wire. Follow us at Swider Show on all platforms. Email us your questions at swidershow@gmail.com. And Yeah, man, it's another great episode with Jimmy. Can't wait for you guys to hear it, and we'll see you on the other side.